Hello students, today we'll complete part 3 of your second unit, that is structure of atom, class 11 science. So far we came across different atomic model. We discussed about Thomson atomic model, then we learned about Rutherford atomic model. So today basically we'll be focusing on the Bohr's atomic model. Okay, so before starting, let's see what is the Bohr's atomic theory based on. Now, Niels Bohr made his model based on Planck's quantum theory. So, Bohr's atomic theory based on Planck's quantum theory. Okay. Now, what is that Planck's quantum theory? Planck's quantum theory states that energy is radiated means emitted. Okay. Energy is emitted or radiated not in a continuous manner but in a discontinuous manner. Okay, and when it is coming discontinuously, it come in terms of energy packet. It come as small energy packet, and this energy packet of radiation is called quanta. Okay, and the energy value of this quanta is given by this capital E term, and this energy is derived from Einstein relation, and this E is equal to h, okay, small h into nu. You know, it is a frequency, and h is called the Planck's constant. It have a constant value. Okay, so Bohr's atomic theory, where from it is being derived? It is derived from Planck's quantum theory. Planck quantum theory say that energy of radiation comes in small packet, not continuously but comes in small energy packet, and the value of energy packet is what? It is called quanta, and the value is h nu. H is the Planck's constant and nu is the frequency of the radiation. Okay, you know that light is a wave, and for wave you get wavelength and frequency, so like that it become h nu. Okay, now let's see what are the postulates given by Bohr for his atomic model. Now postulate means what? This is some constituent point. Okay, this is some point based on which Bohr made his atomic model. Now the first postulate is, he said that electrons in an atom revolve around the nucleus in circular orbit. You know that Bohr's atomic model is being derived from Rutherford model. In Rutherford model, the first point already we have learned that at the center of the atom we have nucleus and electron revolve around it. So the same thing Bohr also considered, and he said that electrons of an atom revolve around the nucleus in some circular orbit. Now each orbit is associated with definite energy, so these are called energy orbit. So when electrons are in a particular orbit, they have some particular energy. Okay, they neither lose energy nor they gain energy, and hence these orbits, the circular path, are called energy orbit. These are also known as stationary orbit. As I told you, energy is fixed when electrons are in a, here you see the electrons are revolving. This is the nucleus, energies are revolving. So suppose we are talking about this electron. So when this electron is on second orbit, they possess some particular energy. Okay, they will neither lose energy nor they will gain energy. Since this orbit have a particular energy value, these are called stationary orbit. Okay, stationary means static, but it don't mean that the electrons will be in the same position, but in terms of energy they are static. Okay, they will not change the energy will be same, and hence it is called stationary orbit. Okay, then next point, orbits are numbered as 1 2 3 4 etc, or as k, l, m, n respectively, starting from the nucleus. So see here, from nucleus the counting will start. Okay, so this is your nucleus. After nucleus, what you get the first orbit. So what is the n value for first orbit or first shell? The n value will be 1. Okay, this is the first shell, this is your k shell, and here n value is, small n value is your 1. Okay, same in the same manner for the second shell, it is L shell, and the n value is 2. Like that for third shell you get serially K, L, M, N, O, P, like that, and you will get 1 2 3 4 as your n values. Okay, it can go to infinity. So that is the these are the postulate of the Bose atomic model. Some more are there. So up to here it is clear. So in the Bose model, what we get nucleus at the center of the atom. Then around the nucleus we get some circular path where energy is fixed, and these are called energy level. And in this energy level, in this circular path, electrons revolve around the nucleus. When electrons are in a particular orbit, they will neither lose energy nor they will gain energy, and hence these are called stationary orbit. Okay, and starting from nucleus we start numbering the shell. After nucleus, the first shell have n value equal to 1. This is called K shell. The second shell, n value is equal to 2, L shell, so on. Okay, and one thing you remember, more the distance of the orbit from the nucleus, more is the n value and the energy. Okay, that means if you are considering K and L shell, which one is where the distance is more from the nucleus? In case of L shell, the distance is more. So L shell, okay, or L orbit will possess more energy than your K orbit or K shell. Okay, so this way you have to remember. Now one more thing you note here, different shell possess different number of electron. In the first shell you can see there are 2 electron, in the second shell there are 8 electron, in the third shell 18 electrons. Now where from this numbering came for different shell, the number of electron, how it varies? It follows a simple formula, that is 2n square. Okay, you know that the n value start from the nucleus. The first shell n value is 1. So check here, if n value is 1, 1 square is how much? 1 square is 1. 1 into 2 is 2. So how many electron will be there in the first shell? There will be 2 electron. Same way, let's check the number of electron in the L shell or second shell. For second shell, n value is 2. Okay, so 2 square is 4, 4 into 2 8. So second shell possesses 8 electron. So same way, if you are asked what is the number of electrons in O shell, P shell, Q shell, any other shell, if they ask, you can calculate just by knowing the n value, just by calculating serially the n value from the nucleus, K, L, M, N, O, P, like that it will go. You can tell the exact number of electron possible in the particular shell. Okay, next postulate, the energy of emitted or absorb photon. Okay, photon means what? Photon means one quanta. Okay, as I told you, like as we discussed earlier, that energy do not come continuously but come in terms of packet, and each packet is called quanta or photon. Okay, so absorb photon is equal to the difference in energies between two orbit. From nucleus, when we go for the orbit, the first orbit is having energy lower than that of second orbit, then that of third orbit, like that. So second orbit is higher in energy than the first orbit. So the difference in energy between these two orbit is given by the relation delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. Why not E1 minus E2? Because E2 is higher in energy than E1. Okay, so delta E, change in energy, is equal to E2 minus E1, and it is equal to h nu. Okay, h is the Planck's constant. See, here is the Planck's constant, nu is the frequency of radiation, E1 is the energy of the lower orbit, E2 is the energy of the higher orbit. So like this, from Bose postulate from quantum mechanics, we can tell about the difference in energy between the orbit. Okay, or we can say the difference of energy of the electron. So see, when the electron is on second orbit, they are possessing high energy. So when they have to jump back to the lower orbit, the extra energy they will radiate. Okay, and this energy will not come continuously but it will come in packet. And what is the value? The value is equal to hf or h nu. F is the frequency, so you can denote it with f, or in a better way you can denote it with the nu symbol. So this way the fourth postulate state about the energy. Next, the fifth postulate says the angular momentum of revolving electron is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Okay, now you see here electrons are revolving in a circular orbit. Okay, electrons revolve in a circular orbit. So if any particle move in a linear orbit, we get the linear momentum, but if they are moving in a circular orbit, what we get the angular momentum for that. So the angular momentum value for electron revolving in a circular path or circular orbit is given by h by 2 pi. Okay, angular momentum, mathematically we get mv into r is the radius, m is the mass, and v is the velocity of electron. And integral multiple means it will be multiplied with a fixed value like 1 2 3 4 so on. Okay, so it is given as n into h by 2 pi, where it's not m, it will be m. It's not m, like it will be n. Okay, so n value will be what, 1 2 3 4 etc, anything, integral value. And n, this n value is the principal quantum number. We'll talk in detail about 4 quantum number. So this is the first one. From the shell value, from the nucleus, we can if we are moving, we get the n values 1 2 3 4 so on, depending on the shell. Okay, now see the limitation of Bohr's atomic theory. Okay, so far we have done the main postulate of Bohr atomic theory. Okay, so next we'll go for the limitation of Bohr's atomic theory. So what are the limitation, what are the drawback? The first drawback is Bohr's atomic theory failed to explain the spectral details of multi-electron atom. Now what is that spectral detail? You see here one thing. We have learned that when electrons change the orbit, they absorb or emit the radiation. Okay, if the electron have to go from lower orbit to higher orbit, they will absorb radiation, okay, having some energy value. And if electron jump from higher to lower orbit, if they jump down, the extra energy they give in terms of radiation, that we have already learned. That means absorption or emission of radiation happen. Now if absorption and emission happen, this radiation, okay, this radiation will fall in some frequency range, because E is related to frequency. Frequency means wavelength. So you know that different light, okay, have different frequency and different wavelength. The red light can be seen from far because its wavelength is more but frequency is less. Same way the blue light have less frequency, you can't see it from far, but it is highly energetic. So what I'm trying to correlate is the radiation is somehow related to your wavelength. Okay, and this wavelength have a variety of range. And if you study this radiation, okay, when electron jump back, if you study the radiation, what you get a series. Okay, you get a series of different radiation having different wavelength, and that result in the spectral line. Okay, that result in a spectrum. The spectrum, the common spectrum, perhaps you have seen, you just take a plastic scale and try to look at the light. Suppose you are looking at the white color bulb or white tube, or in the sunlight you can see different color like rainbow. Okay, a pattern, a patch of different light you are seeing from the white light, that is called spectrum. So I guess spectral line is clear. So that radiation, if you study, you get different color radiation based on the difference in wavelength, and that is called the spectral line. So for atom possessing one electron, Bohr can explain the spectral detail. But if the atom possesses multi-electron, okay, in that case it faces difficulty and can't explain properly. So that is his first drawback. Second drawback is Bohr proposed a flat model for an atom. You see, in Bohr's model, it look like this. It's on the 2D paper. Okay, it's on the two-dimensional x dimension and y dimension, like that he had given. But actually the atoms are spherical, these are three dimensional. So that was the second limitation, that Bohr proposed a flat model for an atom, but it is having a three dimensional existence. It's not circular, rather it is a spherical. Okay, third point, it fails to explain the splitting of a spectral line under the influence of magnetic or electric field. This point is very important. Now spectral line, you understood that you will get a spectrum like rainbow for a single electron atom. If it is a multi-electron atom, then the spectrum become very much difficult and Bohr cannot explain it. Now this spectrum, okay, this line, suppose we are getting this yellow line, okay, for a particular atom having particular electron and protons, this line further split away. Okay, they get divided under the influence of magnetic field or under influence of electric field. So that is called splitting. Splitting means one line, one ray is coming and it will split up. Okay, it will break down. So this splitting, if it happen under magnetic field, it is called Zeeman effect. And if the splitting occurs, if the splitting of the radiation or spectral line occurs under electric field, it is known as Stark effect. So one more question sometime come, what is Zeeman effect and what is Stark effect? Okay, or Stark effect is related to or Stark effect is influenced under which field? So it is under electric field. You can remember like that. Spark, okay, sparkling happen when positive and negatively end of the battery, if you just touch, right, sparkling happen. So it is somehow related to electricity. So like that you remember electric field, so it is spark or Stark effect. Not spark, it is a Stark effect. So I'm just giving a hint to remember this one. So this third point is very important. Limitation of Bohr's atomic model. For multi-electron atom, it failed to explain the spectrum. It, atoms are actually three-dimensional, but Bohr proposed a two-dimensional model. And third thing, it failed to explain the Zeeman and Stark effect. Okay. Now let's have a quick recap what we have learned so far. Now we know that atom have two part. One is nucleus part and another one is extranuclear part. Okay, nucleus part, what you have here, you have the proton and neutron in the nucleus, and in extranuclear part you have the electrons which revolve around the nucleus in some stationary orbit, in some circular path. Okay, then nucleus, it is the central part of the atom where the entire mass of an atom is concentrated. Nucleus consists of proton and neutron. Protons are what? Protons are positively charged and neutrons are neutral. Electrons, you know, these are negatively charged. Okay, and they revolve around the nucleus in fixed orbit. Electrons revolve in circular orbit. Then emission or absorption of energy by electron will be in quanta. Okay, it will have particular energy packet called quanta or photon. The value is equal to h nu. The energy emitted or absorbed will be equal to the difference in energy of the two orbit. Delta E value just we calculated, so that way you can tell the difference of energy. Okay, so that is the recap. Now let's see some question. Okay, in your upcoming exam you are getting your MCQ. So here 4 options are given for this question. Just try this thing. Okay, so the first question say the angular momentum of electron is integral multiple of, which one is the correct option? Is it nh or hu or nh by 2 pi or 2n square? So if you have seen, if you have not skipped the video, so you know the answer. Okay, so the correct answer from here you will comment. The second question, Bohr's atomic theory is based on option A, Planck's quantum theory, classical theory of physics, Heisenberg uncertainty principle, or watermelon model. Okay, that is also we have discussed. So question number 1 and 2, the answer you will comment below. Okay, so that's all for the day. Thank you.